Hello, my name is Marshall Burns. I'm a 27-year-old Navy veteran from Chicago, Illinois. After serving 5 years in the military, I decided that it was time to rotate out and pursue an education and career in performance engine building, but quickly found out that it wasn't for me. I spent the next 2 years trying to find a career that I enjoy. I looked into welding, HVAC, and plumbing, just to name a few. In July of 2022, while sick with COVID, I decided to challenge myself and started learning computer programming. I started with a couple of YouTube videos and a free certification course online for Python. From the point that I made my first program, I knew that programming was something that I wanted to do as a career. I continued learning Python, then went to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and even a little bit of the C programming language. To this day, I am still in disbelief with how much I have learned thus far and extremely excited to see what I'll be learning and programming in the future. My capstone project here at Savvy Coders is an application that serves as an online hub for users to research or quickly reference information about different countries around the world and the people that reside in them. This is an international data matrix. Here is my web app that I've built. The International Data Matrix, the entire world all in one place. The International Data Matrix, or the IDM, acts as a central place on the internet that anyone can access to gain historical, cultural, religious, geographical, geoeconomical, and a geopolitical understanding about any country in the world and the people that reside in them. To get started, you can click on the button below to view a list of countries, click the logo in the top left corner to open the nav menu, or search for a country in the search field located in the top right corner. So let's go with the first one. This is the countries page. This page is what is populated by a list of countries. Currently in the application, there are a total of 9 countries that I've been able to build out. There's still a lot of work to be done on these 9 countries, but one of my goals in the future is to complete these countries and in every other country in the world. So I wanted the application to be as simple and easy to use, or rather as user friendly as possible. Um, so I decided to add some instructions on certain pages that a user might go to and not quite know what to do. Of course, the user lands on this page and they see this information, but they don't know what to do with it. So I decided to add at the top for a header some instructions. Click on the country's flag to learn more. So if that person's an English speaker or reads in English, they can easily use this web app. So once you hover over a country and you're trying to follow the instructions, you might notice some CSS and some animations here with this flag. All the data inside of each of these country tabs is from my own API that I've built. So each country has its own data, its own population, GDP, land mass, and so I decided to put that in the API and render that data on this screen for each country. So once you decide to click on a country, if you click it, it will take a second, but it'll load a country's page. You may notice a lot of different things going on here, but I decided to, again, to try to make it as easy and to understand as possible. On the right hand side, you have the country's flag, and you have a lot of data inside this gray box. I call this the metadata. Everything that you may see here that is in black is pulled from an API and rendered on screen. Everything in white is something that I have actually typed into the HTML document itself. So Australia is located in the region of Oceania in the sub-region of Australia and New Zealand. The capital of Australia is Canberra. Canberra is located at Lat and Long, and the list goes on. For this page, I used 3 APIs actually. So I used an API called REST Countries to get a lot of this data about, such as the country's alpha codes, AU and AUS, for example, for Australia, the currency, and its time zones. I used Open Weather API as well to get the current weather in the capital of whatever country you can look at. The temperature is currently 83 degrees Fahrenheit, feels like 82, and it's clear skies. And I also use a news API, which I'll get to momentarily. So that's all the data on the right hand side. Every country will have its own unique data that's generated from these APIs or pulled from these APIs. On the left hand side, we have the place where all the other data that I wanted to add to each country, the economic, geographic, demographic, cultural, religious, all that information would be located here on the left hand side. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to um, find an API that had this amount of data and easily, in a way for me to easily put it on the screen and render that. So I ended up having to take a lot of this data straight from an encyclopedia and using it for my own project. Um, in the future, I would love to find a way to make it so that this data is it's not so copy and paste, because it would be a lot to do. So I was able to do for each country, all 9 of them, the history section, and even then, it wasn't, for some of them, the history section is not complete. Australia was the only one that I completed because it was the first one I did, and after doing it, I just didn't want to do it again. Um, so, if you were to go through this, it would be the entire history of Australia, as far as humans being there, and or modern civilization being there, I should say. But if we were to scroll all the way down, see this, I would have to do this for 100 something countries in the world. Um, all the way down here is where I use the other API, which is like the news API. But this is the last one on this page that I use, and how it works is in the code I have it to where once a request is made, a GET request is made, I am putting in a specific query for depending upon what URL we are in. So if I was on the page for the United States, that query would be USA or US rather than what it is for Australia, which is AU or Australia. But once that query comes back, or once that query gets sent out and the information comes back, we get news headlines. I have noticed that with this API, the news headlines aren't as accurate, or rather, are not as recent in some cases, but they they do work and they are for that country. So let's try out this second one. It'll take us to a web page where this was from October, and this is October 2022. It's January, so not too bad, but it's a little. I would like for it to be something as recent as the same week that I'm trying to fetch that data. Um, I was able to parse out the data to where the headline itself appears on screen in this black text, and then the URL appears on screen as well, and as a clickable link. So every country that I have, all 9 of them, has the metadata, some historical data, and a section for current headlines or headlines about that country or out of that country. So let's take a look at another one. And to do that, I'll show off another cool feature I have. At the top right, I have the search bar. The search bar is visible from any screen, and the moment that you click enter or click on this little spinny globe, as you have a character in the search box, you will be taken back to the country page from earlier where all those countries were, but only certain countries will appear. So if I were to type in the letter U and I wanted to see any country with the letter U, here we are with any country with the letter U in it: Australia, Belarus, Sudan, the USA, and Venezuela. If I wanted to say find the US, well, I would look at US, but also any country with U and S in that sequence would appear on the screen: Australia, Belarus, and USA. From any page, let's say we go to Belarus's page. From any page, you can find another country, if you spell it right, and go to that page from there. Now we're on Japan. If I wanted to go for anything that has a V in it, or Venezuela, I can search it that specifically, and I can go from there. This allows the user to have a quick way to access any country in the world. All they have to do is know one single letter in the name of that country, or all of them. So next, I'll go over the nav bar. As mentioned on the home screen, at the top left corner, there is an icon here. Once clicked, it opens up the navigation bar. You can go home, open it again. You can go to an example country. This page was built to show someone a very basic how this page would look, how country pages would look. You can go to the countries page again, where all those countries are listed at. Or you can go to the translator. Now, the translator is probably to be honest, my second favorite feature of the whole app, but it's still pretty cool. I have a fully functioning translator that can take a singular word or phrase in English, which is the only current supported input language, and output it to a variety of other languages. So let's say, for example, we wanted to do German, and I say in English, hello, this is a test. And I click on the little button. There we go. Hello, this is a test in German. As I said earlier, I wanted every page and the whole web app itself to be very simple for a user to understand. And as long as you can read English and understand it, you should be good to use this app pretty quickly. At the bottom of this translation box, I have some instructions here. To start a translation, click on the button below, or rather click on the button between the two boxes. Even when you hover over it, it'll change colors so you know it's interactable. So yeah, another language we could test out. Let's try Russian. We'll keep the same phrase. Hello, this is a test in English. In Russian, that would be that. So the translator takes that input from the user from this particular box and sends it out to the DeepL translator. That's the API that I'm using. And the response is that translation in whatever particular language we want. And we have a wide variety of them. The translator also takes just singular words as well. Single. So it doesn't have to be a full sentence. If you need something quick and you want to learn, hey, how do I say door in Spanish? You can do that as well. Next, we can go to the contact page. I have a fully functional contact page. All the user has to do is enter some information and a detailed message, and they can hit this send button, and I have an email set up to receive any form submissions from this app, and I can respond back. Lastly, I have also created full documentation for the International Data Matrix in a README file on GitHub. This README goes through the project structure, the reasoning behind the project structure, tools we could use and tools we couldn't use, as well as how the application works, as to explain it to someone who has no idea how it could possibly work, as well as the file structure. There are some code snippets in here as well. So I went through, screenshot, and just explain how a lot of these pages work, APIs that I use on particular pages or views, and what kind of information and displays on the page. So if we go back and we go home, that is the International Data Matrix. And I am going to take this time to pull up some project planning that I did before I even started writing code inside the project. Inside the entire project, I have a documents folder. Inside of there, I have project planning. Let's take a look at the wireframes. So this is my initial idea for the web app. This would have been the home screen. Some of the ideas are still implemented. Others have been just completely gone. There is no real filter feature. I would like to add that in the future. It's more of a search now. The search bar isn't in the navigation menu. It's over where the filter would have been. The nav menu along the side is still accurate. It's still there, like that. This is now the country page. If I can move this to the side. That is now the country page. So if you go to the view country, that's what it looks like. As far as the translator goes, this design is still there. I did have it to where at first I planned on you select a language that you're about to enter the input in, as well as the output. But now it's just the input is purely English. In the future, I would like to have it take Spanish as an input language, or French, or German, or whatever language. I would really like that feature. Country page is also pretty similar. The flag is still in the top right. Instead of fun facts, I decided to go with that metadata that mentioned earlier, the weather, the location, all these codes and whatnot for each country. And information is still there as well on the left hand side. Um, so that I would say I pretty much stuck with the design. Some things are no longer there, but uh, some are. This was my original flow that I planned out for the web app. You arrive at the landing page, then the user can click on a country tab. This ended up being more of this landing page is technically the country's selection page, and let's consider, say there's another box over here that's the home page. Um, Go to the home page, click a button. Now you're on this page. Click the tab. Now you're on the countries page. Um, I didn't. I will say that as the cohort went on, thinking about the planning more and continuing to work on it, definitely kind of showed where I was thinking too small or too large for certain portions of the project. Um, let's see. I also have a to-do list that I was going through for the last couple months of the project. I had a lot of these in the need to be done section here at the top, and then I would move them down to the completed section as time went on, as I would complete these tasks. I would also create issues for myself on GitHub to remind me to do something, or as I studied my web app, I wanted to make it look better and better. Future plans: country filtering and searching by population, GDP, and geographical location. Also by common language and religion. I think that would be a nice filter feature to have. Add the rest of the countries of the world to the selection screen. It's a lot of work, but I would like to have that done as well. Build a country page for each of those countries. Mobile responsiveness. Add a light and dark mode toggle, and completes history for every country. These are the goals that I would like to have done, like that I really plan on having done. The ones underneath that in this section here, between lines 9 and 13, are things that I can take or leave, but I would like to have them done. And beneath that, a forum page where users can design their own countries and languages and share them with others. That's just kind of an idea I just was spitballing and had. So, with that being said, that was a look at the International Data Matrix and how I kind of built it, and yeah, it was super fun. It was super challenging, but I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you.